I'm Ernie Humphrey, Educational Programs Leader for Performative, the largest online community for corporate finance, accounting, treasury, and related professionals. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar, the 5-step journey to best-in-class corporate performance management, from theory to practice. Despite the increasing availability of data from all parts of their organizations across the enterprise, most finance leaders are far from where they want to be in terms of leveraging data to drive performance. The term corporate performance management is common, but what does it really mean? How can firms assess where they're at in terms of corporate performance management effectiveness, determine where they want and need to go, and define the strategy to get there? Today you'll discover the 5 stages of CPM maturity, from the world of spreadsheet and process chaos to the precise alignment of business strategy with CPM initiatives to drive business growth and competitive advantages. And our speakers will offer you actionable advice to use in navigating your company's journey to best-in-class corporate performance management. I'd like to thank Profix, whose commitment to thought leadership helps us make this webinar possible and delivered at no cost. To quickly on today's agenda, first we'll hear a presentation from each of our featured speakers, then we'll move to the interactive Q&A session where we will spend the remainder of our hour. We would like this to be an interactive experience for you. So if you have any questions at any time, please go to the questions area and go to our webinar control panel and send us your questions. We can't promise to get all of them in, but we'll do our best, and we'll follow up afterwards on any questions we did not get to today. A few more logistical notes about the webinar. A link to today's presentation and video recording of the webinar we sent out to all attendees within 24 hours of the event. Those who would like CPE credits through NASBIL will need to answer all the polling questions during the event and should have pre-registered for CPE credit. For any questions on CPE credits, please send an email to cpe@performative.com. For those of you who qualify for CPE credits, the CPE certificate will be sent to you within 24 to 48 hours after the webinar. Again, we encourage you to ask questions on today's topic via the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel at any time during the webinar. Finally, you'll be asked to take a short survey today regarding the webinar. We really appreciate your feedback regarding our event today, as we always strive to improve the ROI we offer our event attendees for their valuable time. A quick word about Performative. Performative is the largest online community and resource for corporate finance, accounting, treasury, and related leaders. Performative connects corporate finance leaders to provide instant advice and insights on the tough financial and strategic challenges they face every day. Let's get started by introducing today's first featured speaker, Nicole Deisman, Product Manager, Profix Software. Nicole is an experienced product management professional with a proven track record of over 10 years of directly and indirectly working with leading cross-functional teams focused on product positioning, sales enablement, product launch, market intelligence, and demand generation. Nicole was involved in implementations of financial analytics systems in more than 50 organizations throughout North America. She has worked with companies in varying industries and sizes from manufacturing, professional service, education, to oil and gas, with annual revenues ranging from $300 million and up. She then served as solutions engineer for Profix Software, where she was deeply involved in delivering Profix's value proposition to the marketplace. Nicole holds an honors bachelor degree of economics and financial management from Wilfrid Laurier University and an MBA from the University of Calgary-Haskayne School of Business with a concentration in marketing. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to hand the floor over to Nicole Deisman, Product Manager at Profix Software. Nicole, the floor is yours. Please take it away for us. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for signing up and listening to this webcast today. So let me just start to move things forward here. So the agenda, what I want to cover with you today. During today's presentation, what we're going to do is we're going to take a closer look into what corporate performance management is. Short form in our industry is CPM. You may have heard that term before, and how it can add value to your business processes, and why really CPM software technology can create a value-added business solution for organizations such as yourselves, those on the line today. We're then going to take, given time permits, take a look at a few business case examples that will really demonstrate the benefits of using this type of solution and really how they're able to enable organizations to gain better visibility into your performance and as well, just as important, create a forward-looking view out into the future to understand what's coming next and obviously to plan for the future. So I want to begin with an overview of the current corporate performance management or CPM marketplace. So let's start there. This here it looks a bit chaotic, and it's meant to look a bit chaotic. It may be a familiar situation that you're dealing with right now in terms of planning. So every department is operating as a silo. both from a reporting and a planning and a forecasting perspective. What this diagram is trying to show is that each of those departments have their own operational system. They have their own process, and they probably don't share a lot across departments. And of course, this can create a lot of challenges for us. No one is leveraging each other's data. There's no one single version of the truth, a term you may hear, and no integrated scorecards, dashboards that you can provide the executive team as well as department managers. Everyone is really operating in their own silo. So there's many moving parts to an integrated report or budget. As such, creating the budget is difficult. It can be time-consuming, and creating a forecast in this environment can be very much so virtually impossible. Because a lot of organizations, certainly the ones that I have worked with over the past 10 years, are using spreadsheets to manage their plans, their budgets, it tends to be a very dispersed system. Each business unit may spend any number of hours or days trying to get their data source into their spreadsheet report packages, or you're loading it through spreadsheets to create those forecasts and such. I think you get it. There's errors. It can take hours. There's mistakes. If they're undiscovered, that really is a problem. It really isn't acceptable in the business world, and there can be a lot of inaccuracy in terms of financial reporting. The impact can be huge. On the overall business, it can be quite extensive, and that's from a number of different perspectives. There's a lack of collaboration from a reporting and planning perspective. There's many moving parts, as I mentioned, and that does tend to create an environment where there's not a lot of control. And because so much time is spent on preparing data, sending files, many elements tend to get lost in translation. And what happens is there's a lack of visibility on the final numbers of the origination point, being able to drill back down to understand why is this information what it is. So without the ability to have instant access to relevant information, it can become impossible to, or very difficult, very challenging, I should say. Impossible is a strong word, but to manage the business properly. So where I'm going with this is really how CPM software can help in this situation. So let's take a look at that. CPM software really leverages all the existing systems that you are probably dealing with on a daily basis, your different departments anyway. It builds on them to help each department organize its data and complex processes. Really, the point here is from a single unified platform where each department has its own business model, all feeding from the same data source. And through security access, CPM software can really allow users to see and edit only the data that's relevant to them and have access to that. It can be a read-only format as well. What happens in most CPM software solutions is it's extracting data from various databases, basically anything that's ODBC compliant. I'm getting a little techie here. With this simple, you can kind of think of it as a simple one-time handshake with that data source and use the drag and drop and mapping interface that data can come over into the CPM solution, and it ensures that everyone is utilizing the same type of data. Another big thing is each department can have their own, and this is usually the case, their very own unique and complex processes configured in a CPM solution. Generally, each department's needs are not exactly identical, so being able to tailor it to the various department needs is so the output is shared. It's based on security so that true management reports, dashboards, and scorecards can really be distributed throughout the organization. And that's not only through the solution, but most solutions will also put it out in external formats, Excel, PDF, SharePoint, a lot of different formats out there that are required, and it's done by the business user, not IT. So CPM software, some of the benefits here. CPM software really helps organizations with their strategic goal alignment because it starts to automate the collection and dissemination of information across the entire organization in a very fast, rapid, reliable manner. CPM software also ensures that the entire organization is aligned because high-level targets can be set and communicated to department managers so that they can forecast and budget accordingly. So again, you start to get that organizational alignment that is required. It also tends to store base assumptions and details in a single unified source. So that's what that contextual insight is referring to. So when you need that budget justification, when you need that reporting justification, and you want to look at the details and the comments, what have you, you have the ability to do that within one solution. You're not tracking through emails, or you're not tracking through various systems, what have you, to get to that. So it tends to be quite powerful because of that. And as already mentioned, most CPM solutions are on a single unified platform. So no data is moved or transformed within the CPM software. It's all there to be used for reporting, for planning, for forecasting. You're not having to learn multiple systems to do that. And another key one, and I'm going to get a little more into this in some of the other slides, but it's made for you on the line. It's made for business end users. So coding requirements are minimal to zero. Right security is set up so that the business users can access the right information, the relevant information, in an extremely timely manner. So these are examples of some types of reports, of course, that you can get from CPM solutions. Your standard financial statements, of course, balance sheet, cash flow, P&L, but obviously other management dashboards, scorecards, and other operational reports can be, of course, just as important. So let's get into a little bit more theory. And what I want to focus on next is a little bit technical. What is CPM? The definition. And this is kind of the textbook definition, if you will. It's designed to be used enterprise-wide. It often is a complement to business intelligence solutions. It can be anyway. And it tends to include these types of areas. So budgeting, planning, and forecasting, as well as financial, statutory, and management reporting, formal financial consolidation, or I would just say financial consolidation, as well as graphical scorecards and dashboards to display and deliver that corporate information. And some of the other levels deeper that you can dive deeper on is profitability modeling and optimization, strategy management software. So if you want to have a business model that is trying to plan out over 3, 5, 10 years, depending on the industry you're in, you can do those high-level plans. You can do top-down planning is another example. Really enabling organizations to gain better visibility to their organization and create that forward-looking view that is necessary. And unlike other operational applications, CPMs tend to help improve corporate decision-making and also, which is just as important, elevate the Office of Finance into a more strategic role or playing that more strategic role. That's usually the case in most organizations, certainly at the VP, CFO level, but it brings you out more front and center. So what I want to get into next with you is talk about this CPM maturity model. What are we referring to here? Maybe some of you have seen it out there, but let's talk a little more in detail about what this is and why it's important to understand what it is and how you can kind of move along through the maturity model, CPM maturity model. So before we jump into what makes CPM software unique and why organizations in IT should choose CPM software, let's pause for a moment and kind of look at it from a 10,000-foot level. Many times businesses, they don't understand the need for CPM solutions in the market, and more specifically why your organization needs or could benefit, I should say, from CPM. I'm sure you're aware Gartner is an industry-leading technology research and advisory company. Basically, I would refer to them as the watchdog for our industry. They've created something called the CPM Maturity Model. It consists of 5 levels. You can see them there on your screen. And basically what it's doing is categorizing organizations into these 5 levels, from unaware, level 1, down to transformative, which is level 5. So depending on the level of maturity of CPM in your organization, it depends on where you are. So really depending on if you're fully embracing CPM to assess business results and continually improving the company performance. The objective behind this is to start to evaluate CPM processes holistically to create a foundation for more of an enterprise-wide approach to performance management. And one thing to note when we're going through this is that organizations can be at different levels for different CPM processes. What I mean by that is when you say CPM, as I said on the last slide, that generally is budgeting, planning, forecasting, financial consolidation, strategy management, and there's levels that are much more granular within those high-level areas. But an organization could be at level 4, as I'm going to show you what that means in a second here, for budgeting and planning, but level 1 for forecasting. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at this so we can understand why it's important to understand. So let me move forward here on the slides. So the Gartner Group offers a useful tool for understanding where your company may be in regards to this and how you can move to the next level and why it's important, more importantly. So this here is a diagram that Gartner created to explain the levels of maturity against where your organization may be in terms of embracing full CPM solutions. And mentioned on the previous slide, there are 5 levels. You can see them at the top, level 1 through to level 5. Unaware, opportunistic, comprehensive, enterprise, and transformative. So let's take a really brief moment to talk about each of these levels so that you can better understand where you may be. And as I said, remember, maybe you're level 4 for financial consolidation, but reporting, which wouldn't make sense, but let's just play it out, you're opportunistic, level 2 for reporting, what have you. So level 1, right here, unaware. Gartner describes this level as basically spreadsheet anarchy. So CPM processes, they're probably performed in a highly inefficient manner because they typically involve multiple spreadsheets, combinations of spreadsheets. Possibly also in there is some homegrown, outdated products to consolidate your results. It's usually planning, reporting, what have you, is very resource intensive, and it probably lacks some controls that are necessary and may not be providing the business value that it should be doing. It's more of a tactical thing that just has to be done. Moving to level 2, opportunistic, we're getting a little better here. At this level, the organization has implemented one or more of CPM applications to address things such as what I've mentioned so far, but maybe they're using it for consolidation, reporting, budgeting, or forecasting. So efficiency and accuracy have increased, however, they're still largely done in silos. And because of that, again, the business value tends to be a bit lacking, and it's more short-term focused, where finance is the only ones that are involved in the process. Moving to level 3, comprehensive. This level describes an organization who has implemented several CPM solutions or modules, you could say. It's capturing additional efficiencies with finance, and it's starting to create that business value and create that operational insight. What's key here is that it's not just finance in there and using it. It's other key operational units and other stakeholders of the business that are using CPM and taking the advantage. Then we move over to enterprise and transformative. You're getting up to the optimal levels. Most organizations will not reach level 5. That is to a certain extent. I don't know if it is reachable. Some of it is because CPM solutions, there may still be some technical gaps. But if you are moving over into those quadrants, level 4 and level 5, you're doing pretty well. Both corporate and operational participants are contributing, collaborating, and analyzing information. And you're really getting new business insights and getting that greater organizational agility when you are over in those spaces. So why is this important to understand? It's important to understand the value of CPM, how you can move your organization through this. And more importantly, let's talk about where most organizations are today. So you don't have to feel bad if you are on the lower end of the curve. Let me bring that up for you. By businesses understanding the value of CPM and where the organization may be sitting in the CPM maturity curve, it really can be a catalyst for businesses to further support evaluating CPM and implementing solutions such as CPM software. Some of the key selling points. So look at these stats here. 70% of organizations are at level 1 and 2. And again, this is based on Gartner's research. That's through literally interviewing organizations. 25% are at level 5. Fewer than 5% are at level 4 or higher. And lastly, not every organization needs to be at level 5, but at least at a minimum of level 3. So there's room for growth, and business users leading this initiative can be quite significant. So let's take a little bit closer look at level 3 here. So to help further explain what the optimal level may be for most organizations, let's look at this level 3. What we have is organizations, to remind you, organizations that have implemented several CPM solutions, possibly budgeting and reporting. CPM is not viewed as a finance-only function, so operational departments, sales, marketing, maybe IT is using it for planning. More detailed operational data is used, and frequent replanning is occurring. So it's not just static. It's not just once a year budget. It's not just the tactical thing that you have to do. And it's not just a small group of people. Rather, it's a widely dispersed and being embraced by the company and its various stakeholders.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicole, for your great insights. We'll now launch our first of 3 polling questions. For those of you in the audience, after CPE credits for today's webinar, you need to answer all 3 polling questions during the webinar. Of course, we appreciate everyone's consideration in answering our polling questions. We hope the polling question will inspire your questions, and as such, we encourage you to please ask questions on today's topics via the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel. I'm going to go ahead and leave up the polling question for another 15 or 20 seconds or so we can maximize the opportunity of our great speakers this afternoon. So I'm going to have that up for another 15 or 20 seconds, and as soon as I close the polling question, I'm going to pass the floor back over to Nicole, who will next offer us an overview of the CPM Solution Marketplace. So I'm going to go ahead and close our polling question here. And with that, I'd like to hand the floor back over to Nicole. Nicole?
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Okay, let me keep moving forward here. Where I wanted to go to next is, again, on the overview of the CPM Marketplace, is for you to understand historically where this marketplace has been and presently where we are today. Now that we understand where we may need to get to based on what we just discussed, what does the current CPM Marketplace look like? So in terms of market share, this market continues or did continue to be dominated by the 3 Tier 1 vendors. So when I say that, we're talking Oracle with Hyperion, we're talking IBM with Cognos TM1, and we're talking SAP with BPC. These organizations are not just focusing on CPM. We obviously realize they're focused on a lot of other software solutions and services, and sometimes hardware that goes along with that. However, these types of solutions are primarily deployed by enterprise-level firms, so over $1 billion, I believe is how Gartner defines that, in revenue. And generally, the Tier 1 vendors have a multi-product approach and are still quite expensive and can be quite complex to implement. So what happened, or what has happened, I would say over the past 5 to 10, maybe even longer years, is it's opening up opportunities for CPM software vendors to continually fill the gap. Certain products with those big 3 are being retired, and certain vendors are dealing with product acquisition and life cycle issues. So there tends to be some issues. So we get some new vendors that have joined the marketplace, and what that type of vendor tends to look like is, given the perception and sometimes reality of these enterprise CPM implementations being costly, time-consuming, and fairly IT-intensive, many vendors are being established and are focusing on things such as a lower total cost of ownership, definitely shorter implementation times, a fully unified CPM solution. So it's not modular-based. You are dealing with one solution, as well as lower IT costs, which can be huge. I remember talking to some organizations over the years who were using other solutions, more enterprise level, and sometimes literally they have someone in-house for a year or 2 to get it up and running. So it's not necessarily ideal. So what I want to now jump into, again, is talking still about the marketplace, and now where we're going to go is the evolution of CPM. So we've understand the relevance of CPM. Let's look how the newer generation of CPM solutions are unique compared to what has traditionally been the perception of CPM solutions in the marketplace. So this diagram here, let me try and explain this to you. Traditional CPM solutions tended to require a high degree of involvement from IT, who really owns the technology stack and the deliverables. IT has to first, forget this in operating mode, IT has to first understand the business user requirements to produce deliverables. And then they can start to deliver the end results that are necessary. So business users need to perform actions to create those end results, and here are some of the actions down here, and they have to request this from IT. So business users would make these requests to IT, and they had to translate business requirements into technical specifications, including creating data warehouses, writing SQL code, scripts, or procedures, what have you. It could go on and on and on. I recall being on site, and for a CFO to get a report, they had to literally call IT up on the line and say, I need a report. It looks like this, 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 this. Do they necessarily always understand that? No. So it's a bit of a back and forth game, which isn't ideal. It's time consuming. And it can result in business users resorting to using spreadsheets because they need to get insight into their business. So what we tend to now see is the evolution of CPM, best of breed, where they're starting to take a different approach with a vision for ultimate ownership of CPM process by you, the business user. So this is accomplished by developing a product that really enables the business user to own the entire CPM lifecycle without coding or the need of that IT knowledge. The product enables business users to perform the tasks themselves with components built into the product to automate repeatable processes, such as loading historical actual data from your general ledger system, such as making large data adjustments like let's increase all our department sales by 5% or 10%, or take something down a notch, or create those driver-based models that are key. And what we tend to call this is productization. So what it's doing is it's permitting the IT professionals to manage what they need to, security, deployment, things like that, and it's letting the business users focus in and manage the business and the business logic and the modeling that's required to analyze. And I'm just going to take, I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. It tends to look something like this, where you have your IT focus on what they should be focusing on, IT type things, if you will, and business users are able to get into the system and manage the business and get out what they need in a form that makes sense to them. So you can kind of just summarize it by saying provisioned by IT and managed by the business user. And it tends to be a win-win for all parties because of that situation. Okay, so moving forward, I was going to take just a minute here to focus on some business examples of what I've experienced and how organizations have really realized the value of CPM. I think I have 4 or 5, so I may skip through a couple a bit quickly because I realize I'm running out of time here. But this one is a key one, automation. I would say that almost all CPM solutions and vendors out there provide this to an organization. So being able to automate key business processes, repetitive business processes such as budgeting, such as forecasting, such as reporting, such as consolidation. So this is an example of one. These are these are task activities, the red boxes here, that an organization may need to go through during their planning and budgeting cycle. So being able to automate this process is huge. It saves time so that the business user can analyze the results instead of collect the information and put it in a form that makes sense, because the system is doing it for you. The system is sending out the operating expense reports to your department managers. It's getting the cost of goods sold and sales information to start out the plan so we can understand what's really the threshold for expenses, where can we go. It's automatically creating those scenario plans, those what if, best case, worst case, and base case scenarios, and distributing out the results in a very timely format. Another big one, again, it really has to do with automation, but it's the consolidation of data. So because you're using a unified solution when you're working with CPM and the various key stakeholders, departments, if you will, or cost centers, depending on how your organization is structured, get into the system, enter their numbers, it consolidates automatically. You can drill back into transactional data when necessary. You can create scorecards and dashboards automatically to share with key stakeholders, be it internal or external. You can share that information out through SharePoint, for example, put it out in other forms that are easy to use and what people want to see. Another big one in today's world is mobility. So being able to provide reports when you're in the office, when you're out of the office, on your iPad, on your tablet, being able to provide those scorecards where you can quickly, at a glance, see where you're at and understand what changes you may need to make, and see it live and in front of you to see what kind of effect that may have on your business. And then the last example was reforecasting. And many times organizations can't get to this. Again, it's usually because of the type of solution they may be using. I would say CPM is an enabler. It enables you to manage your business better and, again, to be able to forecast out into the future. But the point of this slide is to say that you can do this within corporate performance management solutions, again, because the automation of the processes, your rolling forecast, your reforecast, your multi-year forecast are basically a click away for you to be able to analyze out and understand what the changes, how it may impact the bottom line, how it may impact your cash flow, how it may impact your balance sheet, what have you, or other drivers that are very important to your business. So in summary, I'm sorry I went through that a little fast, a lot of information to cover, but let me do a summary slide before I hand it back over to Ernie. In summary, some of the key benefits to remember, in my mind anyway, is you use one single unified product. You don't have the add-ons, the add-on products or the modules. It's scalable to meet your changing requirements. So think of the Gartner CPM Maturity Model, but think how your business changes, of course. It has the ability to easily add a new department, a new account, a new entity, a new currency if you're operating globally. Another one that's important is you're always within your own secure environment. You have direct connections to any solution. Most solutions out there are ODBC compliant nowadays. Depending on the solution, the ETL may be part of the product. You can drill across into that detail. It provides greater flexibility. It provides a unique blend of OLAP and relational technology for any IT individuals on the line. A customer can generally upgrade when it's convenient for them, and upgrades are very quick. They can happen within minutes. It's scalable infrastructure, and some of the solutions provide the SharePoint integration. Okay, let me hand it back over to Ernie for the second polling question. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Nicole, for your great content and insights. I've gone ahead and launched our second polling question. Again, those of you in the audience after CPE credit today, you'll have to answer all of the polling questions that we asked here during the webinar. For the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next speaker as we have the polling question up. Our next speaker is Shyam Desigan. Shyam is an innovative finance and informational technology executive with 13-plus experience of strong leadership of successful financial management, turnaround restructuring, and oversight of mid-sized organizations and projects that expand business capabilities and increase company profitability. He currently serves as the CFO and SVP of IT for the American Academy of Physician Assistants, AAPA. Prior to joining AAPA, he served Volunteers of America Chesapeake for 3.5 years and managed corporate and project finance operation for the nonprofit's 26 human service programs throughout the Mid-Atlantic. Prior to joining Volunteers of America Chesapeake, Shyam co-founded 2 startup health IT ventures and successfully directed the development of an acute care community hospital during his tenure. He holds an MBA in finance from the Kelley School of Business, Indiana University in Bloomington, in addition to an MS in International Business and a BS in Electronics Engineering. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close our polling question. And with that, it is my distinct pleasure to hand the floor over to Shyam. Shyam, the floor is yours. Please take it away for us.
Arnie, thank you very much for and what a great presentation from Nicole. I think I learned a lot and obviously gave a nice perspective of what CPM is and how important it is. And I can speak from experience, given the fact that all the experience aside, I'm a turnaround expert, and from a turnaround perspective, it's very important to understand the health of an organization, have clear visibility into the organization, and what better set of tools than CPM to be able to do that. So just want to give a little bit of perspective. American Academy of Physician Assistants, we are a healthcare nonprofit. We serve physician assistants. We are the association of PAs. Physician assistants are a fast-growing profession in the United States. We have around 86,000 of them, and it's projected to grow to around 110,000 the next 6 to 7 years. Also, PAs and nurse practitioners are increasingly providing care to supplement physicians and to be able to meet the growing demand for healthcare. So I joined APA last year, and again, I primarily joined the organization because there was a great opportunity to turn this around. The organization had a great story, but again, from a financial management perspective, we were far behind. So when so again, APA with 45,000 members, we had a diverse stream of revenues, membership dues, conferences, as well as educational certification and accreditation. Again, we had good revenue streams, strong internal controls, except that individual departments did not have very good visibility into their numbers. The budgeting process was sloppy. There was no reforecasting or forecasting process in place, and we really did not have a good visibility into revenue. So for all those reasons, and as well as several others that Nicola talked about, we really needed a solution wherein we could gather all the data, we could understand what are the revenue and expense drivers, we could query the data, we could see the results, we could find the dependencies, and we needed one system of record to do that. Our backend general ledger system had some capabilities, but again, GL systems increasingly are just not as agile and as flexible as some of the CPM systems. So we really needed to not only bring the general ledger information, but also look at information that is sitting in our CRM system, that is sitting in our ERP system, from a membership management system, which is our ERP system, and really make sense out of not just one set of data, but of multiple sets of data, and really understand the trends and do some analytics. So when I came into the organization, we had all these disparate data systems, a lot of spreadsheets floating on, the budgets were all on Excel, and really we wanted to get all of them onto a single system that would give us visual business intelligence, that would give us access to data, that would help us drill down and analyze data. At the same time, I was not looking for something where I had to put in a lot of money into capital investments. So for that very reason, some of the older vendors did not work, and we started looking at some of the newer set of vendors to be able to do that. Because one of the requirements I had was I didn't want to manage servers. I just wanted to have access to data on the cloud and to be able to deliver reports instantaneously to not just within my department, but across the organization. So with those requirements, we ended up doing an RFP. We selected one of the new CPM systems, and that essentially gave us the infrastructure to be able to not just do the traditional budgeting and forecasting and financial reporting, but really act as a tool by which we can have detailed discussions with the department heads to understand the revenue and expense drivers. So we really started looking at CPM as not just an infrastructural investment, but basically the management discussion and analysis tool. So it became our MDA tool of record. When we started having our monthly discussions around trends, around business drivers, we went back to the CPM tool to be able to show us insight into what's going on, and whether we are talking about a specific driver that's impacting a department, or we're looking at one department understanding why, what is the impact of a certain assumption on the revenue. So it all came down to using the CPM tool as a discussion, as a methodology for discussion. So we once we implemented the CPM tool, we said, oh yeah, you know what? Why not? Instead of just looking at the charts and tables, why not use some of the dashboarding capability of the tool? So we really started then looking at specific drivers, but also we started looking at ratios. We started looking at from a membership perspective, we started looking at cost of retention. We started looking at things that are non-financial metrics. We started working with our marketing and membership department to really understand, to go beyond just the traditional revenue and expense drivers, but then look at, data that maps to a member acquisition or a member retention cost. And as part of it, we were also able to drill down into specific KPIs to really understand which are the growth markets, where we need to invest marketing dollars, which are the campaigns that are delivering us the results, and all of it visualized right by the CPM tool. We also managed to do some what-if scenarios. So, for example, we had a large publication that we published that we were looking at switching the publisher, and that would have had a significant impact on the royalty stream. So we also managed to use the CPM tool now to do some what-if scenarios, and so instead of having just one static budget, we are able to have multiple dynamic budgets or multiple dynamic forecasts that would incorporate some of the assumptions around certain business decisions. So you are now looking at the CPM tool as your decision support system, and you're looking at it not just as a budgeting tool, but basically to help you take the right decision. So that's where we grew over the period of time, and this is, we are talking about a year or year and a half of using this tool, and as Nicole said, you start with a level 3, and then you gradually grow. You start using the tool for more than just doing your budgeting and forecasting, but actually to help you make decisions and help you forecast and build agility into the business. I'm going to run through a couple of slides again. This is talking about just some of the visualization that we use. This is one of the one of the standard dashboards that each of our department heads use, which talks about, how much, what are the revenue trends, what kind of. Again, this is just a sample view into one of the dashboards, but I mean, you have a lot of these tools have significant capability in terms of customizing the dashboard. So over time, what we have done is we have individual departments customizing their own dashboards to give them the view into what we need to look at. So not only are we looking at trends and visualizing them, but we are also having custom dashboards being built on the CPM tool. Another, I want to touch on another recent development we have, recent implementation we have done, which is now, now that we have this tool for a year, we said, okay, how about mapping it back to the strategic plan? So we went back to a strategic plan, and we realized that, okay, now we have 7 of these goals that we say are critical to the growth of the organization, and how do we map our investments, our expenses back to these goals? So over the last year, we started adding a second level of dimension called the goals, and we actually managed to map all our departmental expenses and revenues to each of these goals. So now the CPM tool is not only allowing you to look at it from a departmental view, but also from a goal view. So you have the capability to build individual dimensions into the system, and that's something that we are pretty excited about because that really gives us a different layer of visibility into the tool. And that's one of the applications of these tools is the CPM tools can do things that your normal general ledger system just can't match. And our goal is to continue to innovate along those lines to build some of the modeling capabilities within the CPM tools, so we are able to make business decisions in line with as we continue to reforecast over the year. I'm sorry. Okay, next one. So I have a couple of slides I want to touch upon with the predictive analytics that we are doing. I know some of traditionally predictive analytics has been done in a statistical environment where you take a static set of data and you might want to do a regression testing, or you might want to do some kind of a statistical modeling to really look at where the revenues are moving. But some of these tools have built-in capabilities wherein you could do some of the predictive modeling on a real-time basis and feed the predictive data back into the forecasting model. So this is something that we recently did, wherein we started looking at some of the dues data coming out of our ERP system, and look at timing issues around when our members renew the dues, and then take some of that data and feed it back into the predictive model. So it's another innovative use of the CPM tool, where you're not only using it for traditional budgeting forecasting, but it becomes your decision support system.
Okay, thank you very much, Shyam. With that, I'd like to open the Q&A session again. If you have any questions, please ask those in the questions area in your GoToWebinar control panel. Our first question I'd like to direct to Nicole. Nicole, someone is currently using Excel to budget and forecast, and they're asking if any of the business logic that's already been created in Excel can be transferred over to the CPM solutions in the market. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, no, of course. In my experience, yes. The answer to that question is yes. The business logic can be transferred over, and it can be done in a pretty painless way. Many times, you can actually import over the business logic into a CPM solution. Many times, most CPM solutions actually have an Excel type interface, an Excel type add-in. So you could use Excel in line with the CPM solution. It's completely integrated and connected. So there are multiple things you can do to do that, and to make it it's kind of been dummy-proofed, if you will, and make it real simple to bring over that. So point is, you're not having, I think that question, what they're really asking is how much work is it to get it up and going and implementing it, because of the way that it's been programmed or productized or developed. It has been made for the business user, so it is quite painless. And yes, you can bring over that Excel logic.
Okay, great. Nicole, I'll also direct this next question to you.
Sure.
Someone's asking, it's kind of a common question. It's a great question. Can you give us insights on how you feel that CPM differs from BI?
How CPM differs from BI? Yeah, in my experience, what I've seen is BI is business intelligence is really looking at a static view of your organization. Generally, it is historical data that you're looking at, where CPM solution allows you to forecast out into the future. So that is a big differentiator as well. Generally, what I've seen with BI tools, it is very IT intensive to create the type of reports you can get from solutions like that, where with CPM solutions, generally most of them have been developed with a bit of BI in it, but meant, again, for the business users, where you don't have to call up IT to get a certain report. For example, the various reports that Shyam showed you, I'm sure it was business users that created those. And you have the tools at your hands to be able to create that type. So yeah, the big difference with BI and CPM is the type of data you're looking at, and it tends to be more IT intensive and a bit of a point solution.
Yeah, actually, just to add to Nicola, we use both BI and CPM tools, and both of them complement each other very well, because there are things that you can do with the BI tool that typically your CPM tool is looking at. You tend to look at financial data along with others. You could use BI tools for totally non-financial data. You could also look at you could even use extend your BI to pull text level type data that you would typically not use in a CPM. So again, different applications, but there's a lot of convergence going on between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, in my experience, CPM, depending on, the CPM solutions will, you kind of wrap your CPM solution can be wrapped around your business model is what I think as well. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. The next question is for Shyam. What was the single biggest hurdle to your CPM implementation that you had to overcome?
I think the biggest hurdle was standard set of assumptions that the CPM tool can, it's lack of knowledge within our among the business heads as to what these tools can do. So it really came down to education to really educate our business users that these tools can be used to do help them run their own business units. So it's I would say it's culture more than anything else. And now we are at a point where we actually every single department head has actually embraced it and they use it to run their business units. There was not much of a technical challenge compared to that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'll direct this next question to Nicole, and then we'll get some commentary from Shyam as well. Nicole, how do these companies create buy-in if they need to change processes, procedures, and technology that involve engaging colleagues across departments?
Yeah, I think Shyam kind of hit the nail on the head with that one when he said it's education. I think different stakeholders across the organization need to be educated on the value of what CPM really means. It sounds technical, but it really isn't when you get, when you really peel back the layers and take a look at what type of value it can provide to you. So I honestly do think it has a lot to do with the education process and them understanding what they can get out of it, give them some business cases of what other organizations may have realized from that, and down to a granular level where it's departmental level, not just executives or just a budget manager in finance. But I think that's one of the big things is the education and understanding the value.
Okay, great. Shyam, could you please comment on how you were able to build consensus, but then also how have you managed to keep the momentum going, right, from starting from a level 2 to a level 3 to making a transition to a level 4 and level 5? How have you managed to keep that momentum going?
Yeah, I think the first getting the consensus was again, it was pretty simple. It's basically we're going to implement a tool that's going to help us manage our business better. I mean, it's as CPM is based on a premise, right? The premise is that we are going to deliver real-time information that's going to help organizations manage their departments better. So that's one thing. The second, the how we are able to keep momentum is really continuing to add value. So the goal is to so what we have done is, for example, like I said, by adding these goals, by adding this level in terms of mapping to our strategic goals, all of a sudden there's a level of information that's available to our department heads that was not available before. So really continuing to innovate on leveraging this tool. how we have kept it going.
Okay, great. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and share the results of the first polling questions as far as the level of CPM maturity of the audience members. And Nicole, could you please give us your thoughts on how surprising that might be to you? And then a follow-up question might be, are there trends as far as industries where you see companies usually fall on the curve?
Let's start. Okay, let's start with number one here in what we see here. What do we see here? But yeah, let's say it's kind of a third to make it real simple. No, I mean that's not surprising at all. You know, over the past 10 years, when I was out in the field implementing CPM solutions, I would say 99.9% of organizations, that's from small organizations to enterprise level organizations, are using spreadsheets to manage their business. Spreadsheets are a great individual productivity tool, but sadly when you need to use them for budgeting planning, which usually involves more than one individual, there's problems. So no, that the results do not surprise me at all. Most people, if I were to put some curve terms in there, most people are laggards, so a little bit behind the curve in implementing this type of solution, yeah, no, it kind of makes sense where people are at there. And sorry, what was the second question, Ernie?
Do you say any trends as far as the industries of where companies usually lie on the curve at all?
In terms of industry type, vertical?
Yes.
No, no, I can't say that I have seen that. Most organizations most CPM vendors out there are not vertical or industry specific, most, not all. And I think the reason why is because of the flexibility of the solution. So they can, as I think I said this earlier, you can kind of think of a CPM solution as wrapping around your business model, be that a business model in the entertainment industry, in the healthcare industry, in the education industry, in the oil and gas industry, and obviously there's how many industries out there, let's say 20, 30 major ones. So no, I personally have not seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and launch our final polling question as we wrap up the Q&A session. Nicole, can you share with us probably the greatest challenge that firms face in moving from that level 2 to level 3, and give them some advice on the key one or two things that they can do to make that transition successfully?
Yeah, sure. I would say you need your cheerleaders in the organization. You need to make sure you have executive sponsorship over these types of initiatives and literally show them real-life business case examples. If you are at level 2, you are experiencing some value from CPM solutions, so be able to put that and literally show them the examples, put it down on their desk or email it, so whatever it is, whatever form it's in, but to show them those real-life examples so that they can understand the value and how it will affect them. So put it in their language, in their terms, and what they care about, I think is a big one too.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the Q&A session. We'll coordinate with our speakers any unanswered questions and get those posted on performative.com. A big thank you to Nicole and Shyam for their time and insights. They're clearly thought leaders in their field and an excellent source of information on today's topic. Note in the post-webinar survey we prompted to take right after the webinar concludes, you have the opportunity to express your interest in being connected with Nicole or Shyam with just a few mouse clicks. A big thank you again to our sponsor today, Profix. And then also wanted to make a quick note that registration for Performative's second annual Performative Conference is now open. The conference is all about helping companies take full advantage of the current revolution in corporate finance technology to drive results across the enterprise. Finally, a big thank you to the audience for your valuable time. We hope to see you again soon at another Performative event or online at www.performative.com. Make the rest of your day great, everyone. Thank you.
The